My name is Sam Luttrull. I'm a rising senior in aerospace engineering here. I'm the structures principal engineer within TREL, which means that I am in charge of a lot of the technical priorities and everything with the structures team.
Nice. So why are you interested in space or rocketry?
It goes back as long as I can remember, honestly, like elementary school. Just back to science class, it was always, I don't know exactly what it was. It just kind of always interested me, just loved space, and then got older and loved rockets. And what really got me into aerospace was I did my junior year of high school, I did this high school aerospace scholars camp with NASA where there was an online course for about a month or for a few months. And then we went up during the summer. We got brought down to Johnson Space Center for a week. We got to do some activities, some competitions in a group, met a bunch of different NASA engineers and scientists and a couple astronauts. It was a really cool thing. And that was really what solidified me. Like, I'm going to go into aerospace now. It's really awesome.
Yeah, that sounds really cool. That sounds like a great opportunity you had when you were younger. Mm-hmm. Would you ever want to be an astronaut or go to the ISS?
I don't think my path is to be an astronaut. I don't know that I'm going to pursue that, but I do want to go to space someday. And my goal, I guess for my career, is I want to be a part of making that possible for me without becoming an astronaut. Making space more accessible to people is where we're headed. I think it's a great goal to have.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's interesting to see all these private companies coming into kind of a sector that was mainly governmental before. Mm-hmm. So I think it's really interesting, really cool. What's your most interesting story from your time at TREL? You can take a second to think about it.
Interesting story. There was the whole saga from this time where we were going to build we have an oven that we built for to cure our composite pressure vessels because they get wound on a big winding machine and you have to be able to put an oven up around it to cure them. So we had to build that oven ourselves, and then we took it out to Firefly where they get wound. But the outer walls of that oven are made of these big insulation foam sheets that we bought from Home Depot. We went out there one day to go buy them, and we picked up these 4 4-foot by 8-foot sheets. They were huge. Wheeled them out to the car and then just kind of looked and said, we didn't really think this through because they weren't going to fit in the car. We had no idea how we were getting them back. We brought some straps and stuff and so all right, let's strap them down to the top. And then strapped them to the top of my car, started driving, and Home Depot's right around the corner from our workshop at Pickle. It's just, quarter mile down the road and you turn in and you're there. So I get out on this road, I'm driving in the right lane, driving real slow. It's fine. And all of a sudden I just heard some rattling from the top. And then I hit the brakes pretty hard, but it was too late and there was just a big snap. And I looked in my rearview mirror and here's half a foam sheet just flipping down the road behind us. So we had the other 3 made it intact, but we had to make another run for that extra a little later. That's always a funny story. The half the sheet I think is still sitting over in Pickle and we just look at it and laugh. It's been used as a test piece for a couple things before, I think. Find some use for it.
Yeah, that's funny. That's interesting. It's one of the funniest stories I've heard from one of these interviews. People, when they get asked that question, usually they just kind of like freeze up and they go with like a serious, interesting story. They're like, yeah, this is cool technology. I'm like, that's great. That is good. But I don't understand what you're saying. So that was a good answer. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. So I know it's been a while since you were a freshman, but what's one piece of advice you would give to like incoming freshmen going into or trying to apply to engineering schools or TREL organizations like that?
I guess the thing that I would say is that you're going to walk into these organizations and you're going to look and there's going to be all these people standing up around that look like they know what they're talking about. They're going to be 2-3 years older than you. Everybody here's a student. There's no need to be intimidated by anybody. We've all learned the same way just by going through it. And, nobody has all the answers. Yeah, just don't be intimidated. You can definitely, if you look at those people who seem like they got everything figured out, seem like they know everything, the truth is they don't. And you can very easily, just by putting in the time, if you really care about it, get up to, however much they seem to know and beyond that easily.
Good advice. That's good advice. How has TREL impacted your college experience, and how do you think that you've contributed to TREL?
Oh, well, I've been in TREL since it started. I started out just as a general engineer. I started working. I progressed to working a lot on the COPV project, our composite pressure vessels, and eventually became the responsible engineer for that. And then this semester I stepped up to be the principal engineer for the structures team. So I've been around it a long time. I've seen it grow. I've had my own personal progression with it. It's really kind of been the defining sort of experience for me in college. It's where I've gotten all of the hands-on experiences, where I've learned most practical things. It's where I've made some of my best friends. It's how I've got my job that I'm working at for this summer right now. And as far as what I've contributed to TREL, I mentioned the COPV project, the composite pressure vessels. I've kind of been taking the lead on those for pretty much the entire duration at this point, going from just knowing nothing about them. It's not something you really learn about in class or anything. And going from there, taking it through learning basic designs, conversing a lot back and forth with Firefly about how to go about things, about where we could do better, where our approach is right. Last semester, we wound our first small test bottle and burst it. And now we've got 2 larger bottles wound, and we're driving toward getting those on a test stand and testing them here, hopefully in the next several weeks. Yeah, it's been a great progression to see that through, and I'm looking forward to continue that.
Yeah, nice. That's really cool. I'm really always kind of astounded at what the engineers are accomplishing. It's crazy to come to a university where you have an organization where students can come together with like real aerospace professionals, and we get all these opportunities. So it's really cool to hear about your experience with that. What are your future career goals? You mentioned you have a job right now, like an internship or something?
Yeah, so I'm working an internship with Firefly this summer. Future career goals, I'm pretty certain that I'm going to be going into structures engineering. I would definitely want to work in the aerospace industry for sure. I think I'm going to go to grad school and get a master's. I don't know if that'll be immediately or if that'll be a few years down the line. I know that I want to work, do engineering, do design, and work in not just the aerospace industry, but I do want to work in space launch vehicles. Like I said earlier, kind of contributing, making my contribution to getting it to the point where space is more available and accessible.
Yeah. Do you think there's like a particular company you're leaning towards, or you have a preference to, or is it just whichever one?
I don't think so. I'm open to ideas. There's nothing that I have my mind dead set on or anything like that.
Nice. That's good. Do you think if you went to graduate school soon, you would stay in TREL, or you would come back to TREL?
If I was at UT, I would stay around, especially because if I went straight to it this year, I graduate this next May. If I went straight in, then I'd still be around and know all the people here and have friends around. So yeah, depending on how grad school went, I don't know how much time I'd be able to put in, but I would definitely be around.
Grad school, I interviewed the principal engineer of propulsion yesterday, and we were talking about his grad school stuff and all of the research he's doing, and I was just sitting here like, wow, that's really interesting. And I'm like, I would love to have a conversation about it, but I wouldn't understand anything. So it's really cool. What has quarantine looked like for you?
Just about like this. I've pretty much been in my apartment in Austin for the entire time since March. I went home for the first week of spring break. Then I came back the second week. That's when we finished up our oven that I was talking about earlier. Took it out to Firefly. We finished it up the day before they closed down the lab at Pickle. So I got a text the next morning, said, hey, you need to get this thing out of here today or it'll be stuck. So I've been here since then. I went home for about a week after finals and then a day or a weekend here and there. But it's just been hanging around here. Got 1 or 2 friends in the area.
Nice. Yeah. Not doing much, just relaxing and doing some work.
Pretty much. I haven't picked up any crazy hobbies or anything like that.
Yeah, some people.
I am working full time now, so.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Some people have tried like gardening or like dyeing their own hair and things like that. So that's pretty cool. But working is good too. Working is great.
Yeah.
What about like the future fall semester? Because it's your senior year. It's kind of looking weird with hybrid classes.
Very weird.
And online classes. Are you planning to go back to campus, or are you just going to stay in your room and do work from there?
Well, I have no idea. My entire schedule's online, so I am not tethered to campus at all. There's even been talk about maybe, taking a week and just running off and getting a cabin out at a national park or something like that. Internet and school by day, and then by night, just kind of hang out and go hike during the weekend and things like that, because we can. I don't know. We'll see. I've been this whole time, I've just been rolling with things as they come, so I'm just going to keep going.
It's a good plan. Yeah, that would definitely be good to just find somewhere in nature that you can do the online work and then just relax and take your mind off.
All you need is internet for online school.
That is true. All of my classes have moved to online as well. but I have to go back to campus because I'm an RA. So.
Oh, yeah. So you have to live on campus.
Yep. So I'm just going to be knocking on residence doors like, hey, do you need a mask? All right. Anything else you want people to know about you? Fun fact or just anything?
Oh, open-ended questions. Those are fun.
Gotta love those.
Yeah. Not off the top of my head, no. I'm excited to see what we can get done the next year. There's a lot of exciting stuff going. Seeing where we go.
Yeah, great.